Well, it's been 3 months since we set up the ECOVACS GOAT A3000 LiDAR Pro with the TrimmerEdge. Now, it's been quite the experience testing this out. I recently rated it as one of my top recommended robot mowers for the year. So today we're going to dive in, talk about what the maintenance is like, how it's been on this yard. I said that I was going to keep track of that. I've done okay at that. And then kind of what has changed as we have been using this on the lawn, how our lawn maintenance has adjusted, how it's freed up time or hasn't freed up time. A huge thank you to ECOVACS for sponsoring this video. All thoughts and opinions in this are my own. Let's get started. So let's start with the maintenance. I'm just going to power it off so that it does not continue to scream at us. Now, the first thing you would want to do at 3 months is replace the blades. So we're gonna open this up and check out the blades under here. So we have been running this 2 times a week for the last 3 months. Now, it only is cutting on the one side, so we can actually flip these over, but I think today I am just going to use the replacement blades and replace them. And then the other thing I'm going to check right now, let's do that first, is the TrueEdge Trimmer. In my initial video, I didn't dive too much into this, but let's take a look. So right now it is sitting in its rest position, so it's actually tilted up and out of the way. As soon as the TrueEdge Trimmer turns on, it comes down so that then the trimmer line is extended and is able to cut. So it's hidden when it's not in use and pulls out when it is. So now we're going to see if we need to replace the trimmer line. In the app, it has like 300 runs, but that doesn't actually know how much is left in here. So all it is a simple screw. Got to grip onto it a little bit and make sure you put that somewhere that you're not going to lose it. Tuck them in and you can pull it off. So the trim line's right here. There is a little button where we can manually kind of help pull it out. I had been using this recently and I noticed it wasn't working properly. And when I made a little short about this, I had actually completely unwound it and wound it back myself. And in doing so, I wound it so the trimmer line got caught. So nothing wrong with it. It was just because I had manually wound it. Here you can see the difference of a new one, how it is nice and wound up properly. But we have used this quite a bit and you can see that it is still there. So we did much more than the original 300. We did a bit more and there we still have quite a bit of line. So you can just go and manually reset that and then start again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep reusing this. You can buy replacement trimmer line if needed, but so far this is actually working pretty well. This is the original one, but we have not been using the trimmer every single week. So we're gonna do some more trimming tests today. To put this back in, I'm just going to slide the trimmer line into the hole and then place this back in so that it's not pushing down on the trimmer line. Then we just need to snap this back into place. All right, there we go. Now let's go to the blades. Now this does come with replacement blades as well as screws if you need to do that. And I would recommend using gloves when doing this, but I don't have any. So all we need to do is unscrew this. So here you can see the side that it is cutting with. It's kind of all gummed up. You know, we haven't done much maintenance in washing this at all. So that's what to expect. And then the other side is completely unused. So again, if I had this all nice and clean, I could just flip it over and then put it back on, but we're going to just replace them fully this time. Probably should have done a little bit more spraying off here and there, but we really didn't do anything. We also don't have it run the same time or the same day the sprinklers are, so the grass is really never wet when it's going. Even when there are dry conditions, here is the buildup that you're going to have. Now we do want the blades to be spinning smoothly around here, so I'm going to just scrub them down a little bit before we put the new ones on. Now for how much dirt this does drive into, I'm surprised there's nothing left over here on the tires, which is good news. Now something I would clean more often is the front lens as well as the LiDAR. Just give it a wipe down, make sure it doesn't get any buildup. We did have it pretty dirty up here and it kept backing up thinking there was an obstacle in the way, so I cleaned it off and it worked after that. Also underneath this, you might want to pull it up a little bit and there's some grass that kind of gets stuck under there. Good as new. Let's put those blades on. Now these are very sharp, so be careful. The blades should fit on and you'll be able to tighten the screw all the way so it is completely loose, not gripping at all. One side does say ECOVACS and the other one's blank, so if you wanted to keep track of which one you are putting on to flip over later, that's a good way to do that. After just a few minutes, we have new blades, trimmers ready to go. It does come with an extra brush, so I was really curious how that would wear over time. So the only part I'm seeing that's worn is right here. There's a little bit of wear, maybe just the way it's bumping into something or maybe sitting at the charging dock. If we put it down, we can see there's nothing really happening on the top. So I think that is going to last a while, but you can see that it might, if you have some kind of obstacle it keeps running into, it may need to be replaced after a while. So time it takes to do the quarterly maintenance is probably as much as going to get gas at the gas station for your lawnmower. Pretty quick, not much to do there. So that was great. Now let's talk about how successful this has been each and every mow. That was my big question at the beginning of testing this, is how many times is it going to get stuck throughout? So right here, if we just tap on mowing complete, and we can go through and show you exactly what has happened. So here we had some successful mows. Here we had the trimming that had a red mark, meaning it was ended, or maybe we stopped it prematurely. So here you can see all these green. That means it is successfully completing. Here we have some other area mowings that weren't completing properly. That's because it got stuck and we sent it back to the charger. You know, there's many different reasons, but here I'm seeing more green from the scheduled mowing than I actually thought I might see. Here it looks like we had a struggle. That's kind of when I was talking about it wasn't able to mow forward, and that's because it was dirty. I cleaned it off, and there you can see it was successful after that. But not every single one is green. That would be ideally what happens. So if we go on any one of these, you can see where it mowed. There it just mowed that area. We can go to any other one of these. There, mowed the foliage back. And now for this, we have been mainly keeping it in the backyard. I have another mower mowing the front, but it's kind of died. So we're going to be mowing the full lawn with this one from now on. So that means we just have to go and open the gate for it to mow. But there you can see it's mowing about 2,000 square feet in 67 minutes. And it's not even set to like the fastest speed. It's pretty average. And we've been mowing it about 2.8 inches. And like I said, 2 times a week. So if I go over here to the schedule, you can see what our schedule is at. There we have it mow on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then I started to do a Saturday trim. You do have to have that scheduled separately. So far, it's always been able to complete the mow. Up here at the top, you have a catch-up mode. So if it doesn't complete the mow in the time period, the next time it goes out, it'll finish mowing. But I haven't had to turn that on, so it's been able to do it within this time. And I like when you schedule, it will say, hey, you need this much time to mow the lawn, and that has been very successful. So why is it getting stuck when it gets stuck? Well, this yard, probably the most difficult to mow, there's not a manicured edge. So there is a cliff on almost every part of the lawn where it goes down to the dirt. And when it gets up to there, when it's trying its best to get all the way to where I mapped it, it goes over while it's turning or something, and then it causes it to get stuck. One of those things is here at the charger. In the app, the charger is kind of part of the grass right in front of the charger. So it would go there and get stuck. So while it's not ideal, is what we've been doing is putting bricks around different areas where it keeps getting stuck to prevent it. We've tried doing different things in the app. There's a way where you can have it kind of force it in certain areas to go all the way to the edge, and then we'll erase where it keeps getting stuck, but we're still having it get stuck here and there. So my remaining question is, will remapping the lawn fix that if I'm not so close to the edge? And whenever I map, I am a little bit aggressive getting as close to the edge as possible, because the more it can cut, the less we have to do on the trimming. Now that it has the trimmer, that's helpful, but I've also noticed that maybe I'm too close to the edge and the trimmer isn't able to work properly. So today I'm going to remap it and stay a little bit further away from the edge, see if that helps it from getting stuck, and see if that improves the success rate on the TrueEdge trimmer. So I'm going to go ahead, delete my map, reset it. Let's get to mowing and see if we have better success. I've even attached an adjustable guide to help me out. There are 3 different distances we're going to use as we're mapping. The first is next to a fence. We're going to be 2 inches away or 5 centimeters away. Next, if we have a drop off, so next to the grass here on the side, we're going to be 4 inches or 10 centimeters away. And then here, if it is flush grass and concrete, we're going to go in the middle between so it can have a nice cut without having to do any trimming on this area. So here it is pretty tight to get through. It decided it couldn't, it kept getting stuck because of the trimmer edge module. So it went around. Here it's getting stuck again. It did drive a little bit too far over. It wasn't cutting or anything though, but it did drive in the garden bed without getting stuck. And now it's finding its way around. So the tramp is certainly in a bad spot. Well, I need to apologize. It was my mapping that was the problem. I remapped it following the guidelines exactly, and we mowed without it getting stuck one time. So in my previous video when I mentioned it was getting stuck a lot, that may not be as true. The only part that it almost got stuck was right next to a pathway where we had the trampoline and a dirt, and we just don't have enough room. The TrueEdge trimmer was bumping up against the trampoline pole, but it was able to figure it out, go around, drove around, and didn't get stuck. So we're gonna mow a few more times, see if it is doing much better. Now for that mow, it did the 3,798 square feet. It took 91 minutes, and we still had 41% battery life left. So this is able to just cut through. I did the speed at medium. You could have it do it even faster, and you can have it do it slower for a more carpet-like finish on the lawn. Well, now the last thing to test is the trimmer. Now that we have it mapped properly, can the trimmer do a better job at cutting around in different areas and seeing what is left over? The most challenging is by far the edge of the lawn or the corner. So here you can see it just wasn't lined up properly to get that. So if I mapped it right, it could do that. So it just got a little bit of cutting, but wasn't able to get the full thing. Now as it's going down this line, it is staying pretty far away. Again, this is the remapped one, so it is a little bit more cautious. I would love if it could see the edge and follow it more closely. Now here's a nice edge that does need to be trimmed, so you can see some grass flying, but doesn't quite get all the way up there to the edge. Here I think was one of the most successful trimmed edges where it was able to get as close as it needed to get the trimming done right up next to the fence. Now for the no-go zone, this is the first time trying the trimmer. So it started off really good. It's still missing about 2 inches, but now I know I can just go and remap this and just do it a little bit more in, and that should solve the trimming problem. We were having it drive all the way in the dirt, which actually didn't get stuck here, but we want to prevent the possibility of that. So just driving in a little bit more, doing the trimmer should have some excellent results. One of the biggest takeaways though of the trimmer is you can see how well it is actually working. It's able to cut at about 6 inches wide, and you have that nice definition between the cut and uncut areas. So we're getting so close to having it just lined up exactly where it needs to be. Is what they really need is an option in the app to just push out the border just an inch at a time on certain sections, so that then we can fine tune the trimmer to get exactly there. Over here it did awesome, but there's just 1 inch left that I want it to push out to. So if I could just manually drag that part over, that would be awesome. Let's see how it finishes up. Here's another area that worked really great right up against the house. It was able to have a nice cut line there. And then here at the edge of the driveway, it kind of went back and forth a little bit, still a ton of grass. And then here as we're going right up next to the mailbox, I was mapping it pretty close there. So I was able to get pretty close as well. When using the trimmer, you have the option to go around your no-go zone. So here I created them around the swing set posts. Now this is kind of the smallest area that you can do. It's not doing a great job of getting right up next to it, but if you do use the manual mow option and you're just doing straight lines on each side of the post, it's able to get very close. And I was able to finish this having a perfectly trimmed post. So could it get there one day? Maybe, but right now it's not quite there yet on such a small object. Let's talk about what it's like to own the A3000 Pro for the last 3 months. As you can see, it just does the job. After resetting the map, we've now completed 3 different mows without one single issue with it getting stuck. That's exactly what I want to see. And having the improvements on the trimmer module, it is awesome that it's able to get so close. Now, we have been using a smart robot lawnmower on this yard for the last 3 years, 3 different robots, 1 each year. And we have seen this be the most successful in completing. Over the last year, we were having the robot be done, and then we'd still take out our manual mower and go and kind of do the extra trimming and some of the things that it couldn't get to. But with the A3000 Pro, it is getting more than 95% of the lawn complete all on its own. Probably even a little bit closer to that 100%. But the one thing is, even if like I have a swing set pole here or on the swing set pole, I can manually mow it with the mower, but it just doesn't have the algorithms built into it to be able to cut everything. But it's awesome in the app, I have the option to do that. So I can see over time, as they get more algorithms built into being able to mow and doing the edging in all the different types of ways that you would want to edge the lawn, this could definitely get it to 100%. So asking my dad, he's the one that's taking care of this. You know, it's very hard for him to get down on his knees and stand back up and push the lawnmower. So this has been perfect for him. And even if it does get stuck one time, which is typically what happens during a regular mow, or was happening over the last few months, it wasn't too difficult for him to go out, get it unstuck, and restart it. He was able to do that without any problems. So we have seen some drastic improvements in the robot lawn mowers over the year, and this by far has been the best one, being able to have the trimming module and mowing all in one, saving extra time from going out, getting the mower. He even has a neighbor come by and help do that extra trimming, or he did last year, but this year he has not had to do that because it's able to complete so much of the yard on its own. There are just a little bit of things that we do need to trim that the mower just can't get to all the little nook and crannies of the yard. As mentioned before, we have it go out and mow 2 times a week on the schedule, and it's very good at staying to its schedule, doing what it needs to do. And that makes the yard just look always nice. There's not any time where it looks overgrown, but it just is always kept up. And then we can even go into the app and adjust the length at times. Right now we have a little bit longer. It's the middle of the summer, so it's very hot. So you don't want to have your lawn as short. So it's nice that we can just, with a few buttons, go into the app, adjust how we want the areas to be, and then it can automatically lower it for the next time it mows. So super user-friendly, has all the app options that you need, and very easy to customize any adjustments like that. Compared to mowing before, you know, it looks a little overgrown, you have to wait a full week, but here we're mowing it 2 times a week. It's on the schedule, automatically goes out, gets the job done, and then it has the nice patterns where it's going one way one week, going the other way the next week, so that's better for the lawn, and then just overall it has a nicer look as it's added those patterns into the lawn, and it always looks freshly cut. Right here, it did an awesome job just barely cutting this, going back and forth. And I love that you now have an adaptive option where if you have a shorter area of lawn, it can automatically adjust the direction to kind of speed it up and make that lawn area look nice. But here it just keeps going and gets the job done. With the GOAT, we still have had to check on it every time it goes out and mows just to make sure that it's gone out. You do have the app notifications that can tell you if it's gotten stuck and when it's completed, so you can easily see without even going outside. But it's nice to come out, check on it, and then get some other weed pulling done while we're out here. So it's able to accomplish some things while we can work on others, which has been really nice. Now, overall, I think the improvements that the GOAT has made on this version are amazing. It really has taken robot lawn mowing to the next level. Instead of just cutting the grass, which is all the other robot lawn mowers, this can then cut the grass and do some fine-tune edging. So whether you are having it try it and you figured out kind of exactly what works on your lawn, or you just are using it to then manually go out and edge, I think it's great that you have both those options, because with my eyes and the controller, I can get much closer to a lot of the areas if it did miss something. So it's nice that I don't have to have another lawnmower, I don't have to have a trimmer around. If I don't want to have one, it can all be done in this one device. And I'm actually impressed with how long the trimmer can be used. And so here is how the lawn is looking. I just love seeing the new lines put down by the GOAT A3000 Pro. It's looking so good. Now, one of the huge benefits of this is the LiDAR and having no RTK antenna. Something that I've tried out on many of the older mowers was an RTK antenna where I just couldn't find a good signal on this location. So we have some big trees. We'd put it where it was good signal, but then the robot kept getting stuck on the other side of the house. If there's 2 houses next to each other, the signal gets kind of confused. Where here with LiDAR, I didn't have to worry about any of those things. I just put the charger where I had a plug and mapped, and it knows exactly where to go. It can bounce the light off the house and figure out exactly where it is, and then you set up the map and boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about antenna signal or anything like that. And now, as you can see, even the mapping that we had done originally didn't change at all. So if you map correctly, you're not gonna have any issues down the road because it just knows exactly where it is based on the other things that you have in your yard. So if you do any big yard construction, you may need to do some remapping, but out of the box, it does a great job at knowing where to go. And that LiDAR is so accurate, especially with obstacle avoidance. We have the trampoline in the backyard, all the different legs that it has, and it's been able to avoid it better than any other mower. And it can see it, and it can quickly go around it and then do a good job of navigating around it and getting as close as it can to the different legs and obstacles, and then continue on without getting stuck or running and bumping into any obstacles. Now, the trimmer module is really, like I mentioned, such a game changer in being able to get the lawn more complete. Other mowers aren't able to do that, where this can get it so much closer to having that final finished look. And there's still just a tiny bit of things that need to be improved there, but overall it's completing that. I think probably we're at 75% of the trimming that it is able to do. If it was able to do some more algorithms, or instead of doing a circle, it could kind of cut along a line where you have an obstacle. So say the tramp legs again, if I made a line and then it did a nice trim on each side, that would get it more complete. So over time, I think that's where the final thing needs to be improved on this, to make it to get the lawn completely done without any extra work. But that being said, this has saved tons of time. It just goes out on the schedule, does the job. All we have to do is open the gate to let it through to the front yard, and it gets the job done. Now you do have to schedule the trimming separate. So maybe you don't want to trim every single week or every single time. You just want to trim once a week. You can schedule that as well. So then on Saturdays, once it does the mowing, we want to make it look final and nice and sharp for the weekend. Then we can go ahead and turn on the trimmer, and then it does that for the schedule on the Saturday. So really cool that you have the options to do both of those as well. And finally, the maintenance that you have on a robot lawnmower is very simple. You saw already, all we need to do is change out the blades. It just took me a few minutes. Every once in a while, you may need to spray it off. If you're still using a gas mower, you'll find this to be so amazing because it's so quiet. It just does the job. If we just sit here, no other neighbors are making noise, and it's barely making any noise, which I think is great to not have more noise pollution. And you don't have to worry about going to pick up gas for your lawnmower or your trimmer and everything. Having it being electric is awesome. And it's got a great battery life. Again, we were able to mow the lawn. Took 90 minutes, but we still had about 40% battery life. This can cover 3/4 of an acre if you do have a bigger lawn than that. The LiDAR can't see more than, I think, 70 meters or something like that. So that's when you need maybe an RTK if you have a really big lawn, but this is able to handle that. Now, one cool thing in the app, I think you can actually add a second charging station. So if you do have a bigger area, you can have charging stations at both ends, and then it would be able to just dock and charge at the other end of your home and then complete the mowing there. So really cool that you have all of those options. So after 3 months of ownership of the ECOVACS GOAT A3000 Pro, this has been an excellent lawnmower to have. As I have mentioned, my dad isn't capable of doing that anymore. So being able to put this on his lawn, knowing that it's continually going to get the job done without me needing to come and intervene. And if there is the occasional need, he can easily pick it up, move it a little bit, and continue it in the app or push the buttons on it to have it progress is awesome. It has been able to fulfill all the needs that we have of a robot lawnmower, and it takes it to the next level, being able to have the trimmer module as well to get it done even more than we have ever been able to do on any other robot lawnmower. So it has been a great 3 months. I'm excited for the next 3 months in the summer to have it just keep getting the job done without much need from us. And it's really been one of the most refined robot lawnmowers that is available. So if you have any further questions about its operations, please let me know down in the comments below, and I'll leave some links down to it in the description below to pick one up to save you some time the rest of this year from having to go out and mow the lawn. And you can also get some of the extra trimmer as well as extra blades down on the website as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Look at that. It finished mowing the lawn before I even finished this video. Crazy.